Hi, I'm Chris Stevens. I'm the president and founder of Summit Solutions Consulting, and I am also the host of the Summit Threat Management Academy Fundamentals, which is what we're discussing in this short video for you today. The Academy is a web-based Zoom taught academy, and that's why we're recording this announcement on Zoom. What you see is what you're going to be getting at the Academy, but there's quite a bit more than just me involved. I'd like to take you on a quick tour of what's going to be presented during the day-long Academy. And this is a orientation not just for those of you who may be attending, but it's also something that you can use to explain to your supervisors or your managers what it is that you are asking to learn through the Threat Management Academy. So real quickly, we're going to go to sharing the screen right here, and I'm going to pull up a quick introductory PowerPoint for you. And let's see here. We'll make it big, and we'll start the slideshow right down here. Okay, the Threat Management Academy, again, is well, let me get myself out of the way here so that you can see the entirety of the slides. We have an 8-hour training day online, and the Academy is has a mission, and the mission is to provide during that single day a familiarization with the process of behavioral threat management assessment and the prevention of targeted violence. It is designed for professionals. So what does that mean? Well, first of all, it's a single day of training. We start at 8 in the morning. We go until 4 in the afternoon. I'll break down what each hour of that day is going to look like to you. And this is designed for professionals tasked with threat management duties. Now, you may not be a professional threat manager. You may be an HR professional. You may be a physical security person. There's any number of different things that people do as their primary duties, but they also get told, hey, by the way, you're on our threat management team. Well, what does that mean? We're going to take you, whether you're a brand new threat manager, or maybe you're somebody who just needs a little refresher, or you're somebody who knows nothing at all about it and you really need to know what's going on. We're going to take you through that during the day, and it's going to be familiarization with the process of behavioral threat assessment and the prevention of targeted violence. There's a little difference between threat assessment and threat management. Threat assessment is the beginning of threat management, but we're also looking at how you manage cases when you can't arrest somebody, you can't commit them to a mental health facility, you just have to deal with them. How are we going to manage that? And we're going to work with you on that throughout the day. The day is broken into hours, and we've done some research into Zoom, and we found that the best way to train is to break things up. So each hour is 50 minutes long with a 10-minute break, but that 8 hours is also broken up in each hour. For instance, we'll start at 8 o'clock with introductions all the way around. We'll do some orientation, ask and answer questions, and we'll go through some vocabulary that is unique to threat assessment. We've got a nice glossary inside your manual that's going to be issued to you prior to the opening of the day. We'll go through that and do a little bit of discussing with that. And then what we're going to do from there is break at 8:50, and at 9 o'clock we'll come back and an instructor will introduce the RAGE V and the pathway to violence. Now, the RAGE V, that's the acronym for Risk Assessment Guideline Elements for Violence. And this is an instrument that you can use when you encounter someone who appears to be either making or posing a threat. And it is a psychologically sound, tested and proven format for making sure that you cover all the bases during your investigation and your assessment. The pathway to violence is the psychological advancement that people go through. A disturbed person starts off with a grievance, and then they go from stage to stage until they finally reach the point where they are committing targeted violence. And that pathway is fairly well established in the mental health community. So we're going to go through that with you. That's going to take about 20 minutes. So that'll get us up to 9:20. Then at 9:20, we move into discussing what was just lectured with the students and with the rest of the faculty. When the faculty members are not instructing, they serve as panel members. So we're going to talk a little bit about this stuff in a conversational way rather than just lecturing you. We'll go back and forth and discuss specific cases or specific aspects that maybe got left out during that 20-minute introduction. And that's the format for the day is 20 minutes of lecture, 30 minutes of conversation, 10-minute break, and then back into it. You become part of that conversation because all of your questions, all of your comments, all of your observations will get brought to the panel for discussion. Now, at 10 o'clock, we move into the case intake, bias, and issue spotting. We are going to introduce a chronology of an actual case that occurred several years ago that we are all quite familiar with in the threat management world, and we'll take you through that case chronologically, and it will become part of each of the lectures that takes place and the discussions that goes with it afterwards. The case intake and the bias issue spotting is pretty simple. That's where do you get started? What happens when someone comes to you and says, you know what, I'm worried about this person, or this person made some threats, or they said some things that we interpret as being troubling. We're going to talk about how to start pulling things together and then looking for the different issues that are associated with this particular case that you're dealing with. Again, that's 20 minutes of lecture, 30 minutes of conversation, and then into the break. Then at 11 o'clock, we'll talk about information gathering and interviewing. This is actual investigation of the case, how to go through it, how to pull all that stuff together and gather all the stuff that you need to do a good investigation. We'll break for an hour, and then when after that hour is over with, we'll come back. We'll start analyzing the information that we found in our investigation and tell you how to build a chronology, how you bring the RAGE V instrument into your investigation to make sure that you don't have any holes in your investigation. We'll take a break. We'll go into response and intervention. What do we do when we can't arrest somebody? We can't commit them to a mental health facility, but we still have to deal with them. How are we going to respond? How do we manage the subject? How do we manage the victim and other people involved in this? And again, we'll be doing this in the light of an actual case study so that you've got some strings to draw back and forth with. We'll take a break. In our last hour will be discussion, monitoring. We'll review the threat management cycle as action research. Talk to you about how to put a team together and how to get that team working together in harmony to solve some problems and manage your cases as you encounter the different challenges that they bring up. And then we'll be done by 4 p.m. And that's basically the day. You will receive an e-copy of a resource manual as a PDF. It's got a lot of great resources in it. It's got that glossary that I mentioned to you. It has several links to outside resources that you will want to avail yourself of that are open source but copyrighted, so we can't copy them and slap them into this. But we do want to make sure that you have as many resources as possible. And then every person who attends and finishes the Academy will get an e-certificate of attendance to go into their personnel and training file. And that's where it comes from, how it goes. SummitSolutionsConsulting.com is the website. Go to the STMA, the Summit Threat Management Academy page on the website, and we will be happy to get you registered and pull things together. Now, what we're going to do from this is I'm going to stop sharing and come back to my smiling face. Hi. I hope this helped a little bit. If you have questions, contact us. info@summitsolutionsconsulting.com is a great email to get a hold of us with. I look forward to seeing you. We have limited seating. We don't let the crowd get too very big because we want to make sure that everybody's questions get answered. And we look forward to seeing you or your employees, or maybe your entire threat management team at the Summit Threat Management Academy Fundamentals.